Hey there, fellow gardeners. Welcome back to the Soil House, where we're always digging into the secrets that transform ordinary gardens into thriving green paradises. Today, I'm going to share something that absolutely blew my mind when I first tried it in my own garden beds. We're talking about molasses, yes, that thick dark syrup sitting in your pantry, and how one simple tablespoon can trigger explosive root growth that'll have you questioning everything you thought you knew about plant nutrition. I'll be honest with you. When I first heard about using molasses in the garden, I was skeptical. It sounded like one of those old wives' tales that gets passed around gardening forums without any real substance behind it. But after watching my tomato plants develop root systems so robust they practically lifted themselves out of their containers, I became a true believer. Let me walk you through exactly why this works, how to do it right, and what kind of results you can expect in your own garden. The secret behind molasses isn't actually feeding your plants directly, and that's where most people get confused. What molasses does is create an underground buffet for the beneficial microorganisms living in your soil. Think of it as throwing the best dinner party ever for billions of tiny workers who are already busy making your soil healthier. Molasses is packed with simple sugars, primarily sucrose, glucose, and fructose. These sugars are like rocket fuel for beneficial bacteria and mycorrhizal fungi that form symbiotic relationships with your plant roots. When you add molasses to your soil, you're essentially waking up these dormant microbes and giving them the energy they need to multiply rapidly. Within days, their populations explode, and that's when the real magic happens. These beneficial microorganisms do something absolutely incredible for your plants. They break down organic matter in your soil into forms that plant roots can actually absorb. They also produce enzymes and hormones that directly stimulate root growth, enhance nutrient uptake, and even protect plants from soil-borne diseases. Some of these bacteria can even pull nitrogen straight from the air and convert it into a form your plants can use. It's like having millions of microscopic gardeners working around the clock to make your plants healthier. When beneficial microbes thrive in your soil, they form extensive networks around plant roots. Mycorrhizal fungi, in particular, create thread-like structures called hyphae that extend far beyond where roots can reach on their own. These fungal networks essentially extend your plant's root system by hundreds or even thousands of times, accessing water and nutrients from a much larger soil volume. But here's where it gets really interesting. The relationship between plants and these fungi is truly symbiotic. The fungi deliver water and nutrients like phosphorus and micronutrients to the plant roots, while the plant shares the sugars it produces through photosynthesis with the fungi. When you add molasses to this equation, you're supercharging this natural partnership. The fungi get a sugar boost from both the molasses and the plant, allowing them to grow even more rapidly and extensively. The result is a root system that develops at an accelerated pace. Lateral roots branch out aggressively, root hairs multiply, and the overall root mass can increase dramatically within just 3 weeks. I've pulled up plants treated with molasses and compared them side by side with untreated controls, and the difference is genuinely shocking. We're talking about root systems that are visibly denser, more fibrous, and significantly larger in overall volume. Now, let's get into the practical application, because doing this correctly makes all the difference between seeing amazing results and wondering why nothing happened. First, you need to choose the right type of molasses. Head to your local grocery store and look for unsulfured blackstrap molasses. This is crucial because sulfured molasses contain sulfur dioxide, which can actually harm beneficial microorganisms rather than help them. Blackstrap molasses is the third boiling of sugar syrup and contains the highest concentration of vitamins and minerals while having less sugar than lighter varieties. The basic recipe is beautifully simple. Mix 1 tablespoon of blackstrap molasses into 1 gallon of water. Stir it thoroughly until the molasses is completely dissolved. Some gardeners like to use warm water to help it dissolve faster, which works perfectly fine. Once mixed, you can apply this solution directly to the soil around your plants. For established plants and garden beds, pour about 2 to 3 cups of the molasses solution around the base of each plant, making sure to saturate the root zone. For container plants, use enough solution to thoroughly moisten the soil, allowing excess to drain from the bottom. The timing of application matters too. Apply your molasses solution early in the morning or in the evening when temperatures are cooler. This gives the beneficial microbes time to absorb the sugars before the heat of the day causes evaporation. I found that applying molasses when the soil is already slightly moist rather than bone dry gives the best results because the solution can penetrate more evenly throughout the root zone. Here's the schedule I follow religiously at the soil house, and it's consistently delivered incredible results across all types of plants. For the first 3 weeks, apply the molasses solution once per week. This initial phase is when you're building up your soil's microbial population and establishing those beneficial relationships between fungi, bacteria, and plant roots. After the initial 3-week period, you can reduce applications to once every 2 weeks for maintenance. During the growing season, I continue with the bi-weekly schedule, particularly for heavy feeders like tomatoes, peppers, squash, and fruiting plants. For less demanding plants like herbs and leafy greens, once every 3 weeks is usually sufficient. Pay attention to how your plants respond. If you notice exceptionally vigorous growth and healthy foliage, you're on the right track. If plants seem to plateau, you might want to increase frequency slightly. So, one important thing to keep in mind is to avoid overusing molasses. While it's generally very safe, applying too much can actually cause an imbalance in your soil's microbial community, or, in some rare cases, even attract pests like ants. It's best to stick to the recommended ratio of 1 tablespoon per gallon and try not to apply it more than once a week. Unless, of course, you're working with severely depleted soil that you're actively trying to bring back to life. Let me paint you a picture of what you'll actually see in your garden. Within the first week, you probably won't notice dramatic above-ground changes, but trust me, there's a revolution happening underground. Between weeks 2 and 3, you'll start seeing plants that look more vigorous. Leaves often appear darker green and more robust because those expanded root systems are pulling in more nutrients. By week 3, if you're brave enough to gently excavate around a plant or check container plants, you'll see noticeably more root development. The root ball will be denser, you'll see more fine feeder roots, and the overall structure will look healthier and more extensive. Above ground, plants typically show accelerated growth, more resilient stems, and improved drought tolerance because those deeper, more extensive roots can access moisture that shallow roots miss. For fruiting plants, the benefits extend beyond just root growth. Better root systems mean better nutrient uptake, which translates to improved flowering and fruit set. I've consistently noticed that my molasses-treated tomato plants produce larger yields with better-tasting fruit. Peppers develop thicker walls and squash plants become absolutely unstoppable producers. There you have it, friends, the complete guide to using molasses to trigger explosive root growth in your garden. This simple, inexpensive technique has the power to transform your gardening results, and the best part is that it works with nature rather than against it. You're not dumping synthetic chemicals into your soil, you're nurturing the living ecosystem that's been making plants thrive for millions of years. If you found this information valuable, do me a favor and subscribe to the Soil House channel. We're building an amazing community of gardeners who believe in working with nature, sharing what actually works, and helping each other grow the most incredible gardens possible. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our weekly deep dives into gardening techniques that deliver real results. And please, share this article with your fellow gardeners. Let's spread the word about this remarkable technique together. Drop a comment below and let me know when you try this method. I can't wait to hear about your results. Happy gardening, everyone!